Migration is not just about history and things that happened in the past. It's something that's happening all the time. It's happening now every day. From 1948 onwards, when the Windrush generation arrived here with many others from the Caribbean, helping to rebuild Britain after the devastations of World War II, many of them we know settled in Essex communities. They worked in hospitals, they worked on transport, and they worked in factories. And their legacy is part of our way of life today. And also from a similar period, from 1950s, many families from India also decided to come to Britain, and many of them settled here in Essex. And of course, also many have come in more recent years, escaping from the horrors of war in the home countries. People, for example, from Afghanistan, Iraq and Ukraine, I mean, just to name a few. But many are successfully rebuilding their lives here in Essex.
I've been doing this work for around 10 years, and we used to see conflicts or wars break out, and it took 3 or 4 years before we would see people arrive in the UK. Now I would say it's a matter of weeks before we see people start to arrive. So very soon after Ukraine, Afghanistan, Eritrea, people started to arrive. So there is a much quicker impact when there are conflicts around the world on the countries nearby. I would just like to add that most people go to a neighbouring country, and in terms of people coming to the UK, we are the 17th in Europe on the list, so we're by no means first choice. So people generally filter down to coming to us 17th on the list. There's been a shift in terms of geographically, so we're getting more people through from South America, more people through from parts of Africa that previously not ever had conflicts, or not for many years. So there are always shifts and changes, but there are, I think traditionally more people will be coming from Middle Eastern countries, oil-rich countries. But we also deal with people who have been unable to assert their EU rights after we Brexited. So we have quite a large number of EU applicants who have to make resolution claims to the Home Office because they currently don't have the status that they should have.
I think the main challenges for refugees and migrants when they come to Colchester or come to the UK in general is the lack of an opportunity to immediately be able to learn English. That is sort of the key to giving them so many more choices. So in Colchester, we have an organisation that offers informal English classes 3 days a week. That's soon to become a 5-day-a-week opportunity for people to learn until they're entitled to have official ESOL lessons. So hopefully we bridge that gap through various organisations that we can refer into for that. So yeah, that is the main challenge. The second challenge is that an asylum seeker isn't allowed to work straight away. And it's a real shame because we've got some very, very highly skilled people that are sitting on their hands, and they feel so frustrated that they can't get on with the job that they've been trained to do, and they've dedicated their lives to training before they came to the UK, and then just have to wait. And it's heartbreaking to see sometimes. Yeah.
The main reasons people seek asylum are because of a war. The average person who comes to the UK has been internally displaced 8 times. So as you and I would, if there was a war or a conflict, or even be it a disaster, an environmental disaster, we'd move somewhere else. We'd try and go to family, maybe in Scotland or in Wales, and get away from where the trouble was. And people tend to do that 8 times before they actually decide to cross the border. When they cross the border, they normally will go to a neighbouring country because more likely in the neighbouring country that people will speak your language or understand your language, maybe have the same currency, maybe eat the same food. It's more familiar, so they will try and go there because it's easier to find work and hopefully start again. Unfortunately, what happens is you get countries like Lebanon, Jordan, Turkey, who now have millions of people who've fled to their countries. And they literally, some of those countries have a third of their population made up by refugees now. So there is a rise in xenophobia, but it's always there. I'm a migrant myself. I've experienced it since I was a child. I've never felt more empowered personally since I did this work. I feel much more at home sharing with other people how to feel at home in this country than I've ever done personally myself. I still get comments sometimes. There is a rise in xenophobia. I think that's to do with lots of political issues and financial issues and cost of living crisis and a general anxiety around upcoming anxieties around the climate, and people are looking at resources and knowing that they are scarce and getting scarcer, and they're worried. And when people worry about resources, they tend to become greedy about them. And unfortunately, greed is often at the back of a lot of xenophobia. This is mine, this land is mine, this food is mine. And if that's how we think, then we look for people to blame and we look for people to take these things from.
I think being a city of sanctuary would mean being a city where people feel welcome. There's a large community of people from abroad that come here and they are happy to settle here. They're not just put here by the Home Office and just left. We don't believe that anybody should be in that situation where they're just left to their own devices. We wrap our arms around them and we give them that support here so that they feel welcome and feel part of the community.